for the record, the city commission hired my firm to develop a preliminary design for a downtown conference center. That preliminary design has officially now been presented to the city commission. We've had a series of discussions and meetings with staff, and we are going to be meeting with the city commission soon to give our presentation report for a preliminary design, which would be, what could the floor space look like? How big would it be? How much square footage would it encompass? How much of the land would it encompass? What could it look like? How long would it take to construct? How much would it cost? And all of that, plus renders, some very nice renders, will be presented to the city commission whenever they are ready for us to come present to them. And then the city commission will decide what they want to do beyond that. So I wanted you to know that for the record, that's where we are. You asked about renders. City commission hasn't been presented any renders officially yet, but they will be presented renders.
Just as a point of clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's the city who inquired about creating a conference center?
They hired us and asked us if we would look at, on a particular piece of property that they own, what would a downtown conference center function, what would it look like, how much would it cost, how long would it take to design and build, and what could it look like from a render standpoint. And that's
Did
what
your
we're doing.
firm look into adapt and reuse the current structure?
Yes,
And what did you find?
the findings are gonna be presented to the city commission.
How are we supposed to know what the findings are to be able to advocate for?
Once it goes to the city commission, it becomes public record.
Why wouldn't you do an open house regarding that?
That's
knowing-
up to the city commission.
I understand, well then, well,
You have to ask the city commission.
knowing that there's a lot of people who are concerned, and so did the city ask about that particular property?
They asked
for it
us
to be there?
They asked us to develop a downtown conference center on that particular site.
Was it
What
or
would be
was it
possible?
Your recommendation to demolish?
I was asked by a city commissioner, what would your recommendation be after we did inspections on our own? And I said, it should be demolished. That was on record when I said that. I'm not denying that I said that. Okay, just for the record, I wanted to just establish that because y'all have been asking about the conference center. And I'll say it one more time. The charge and mission of this commercial development plan has nothing to do with the downtown conference center or the San Juan Hotel or any specific buildings. We are just merely putting a vision out there for areas in the city downtown area of what's possible to have built either by the city or private investors or a combination of both.
But you realize how comical that sounds.
Excuse
You're
me?
displaying a vision that entails that potentially being demolished. There is a connection, there's no disconnect.
We're not recommending anything about the city, the San Juan Hotel, not in this plan. We're not. It has nothing to do with anything, any building specifics.
It's not specific to
It's not specific to
any.
any building in San Juan. We just showed you, you just saw about 65% of what the book's gonna look like today. There's
So-
nothing in there that says anything about the hotel or downtown conference center.
So us, we have the responsibility of making recommendations. Of
You
what
can,
we-
and I'm about to give you, I'm
Right.
about to
No,
give you some
I'm-
time to do
I'm
that.
just talking out loud, is we have a responsibility to provide that feedback, so I'm
Sure.
just, I think that's why.
You should ask the city commission to give you that
Oh, we have.
opportunity.
We will, yeah.
Okay, but you have 2 minutes and they're here behind me and you can make that recommendation when you stand up and speak
Sir.
for 2 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Just for the record.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here as a San Juan citizen.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not here with a certain group,
Okay,
okay?
but
Just for the record,
we do
I'm
want to
just-
hear you speak. If you'd like to speak, anyone who wishes to speak, I ask you to please sign up. 6 of you signed up, 1 of you signed up and wants to speak on something that has nothing to do with this. But if that's what you want to do and that's your choice, you can speak about something that has nothing to do with this. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to do it. I asked, there's gonna be a timer, you can visually see it. I'm gonna ask you to be respectful of time, because if all 25 of you spoke, we'll be here for at least until 7:30 when we're supposed to be done.
And that's fine.
So can I ask a question about this question or this comments? This 2-minute rule, is this, I just wanna be clear, is this your decision or is it the city's
It was a
decision?
recommendation that we made to the city staff and they agreed with it.
I just wanna say, again, that's not, like it says, open house. Anyone here who's a parent or has ever been
Open
a
house means that
student,
everyone is invited.
open house,
That's the interpretation of what open house means.
But it's also, it means
Yeah, if you,
communication.
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna get into a debate with you about what the word open house means, I'm really not.
Expansion of the PD, that's what I saw there, that's what I'm gonna speak about.
You can speak about it for 2 minutes, you go right ahead and do it.
I was not asking for that reason, I was making that statement because many people came here not expecting to make a comment. I think most people thought we were gonna have a conversation, and so that's why I think
A conversation about the San Juan Hotel?
about downtown,
About what's going on.
what we would like to see happen downtown.
Yeah, you have 2 minutes to talk about that, okay? I'm asking you to be respectful of that time. If you want, you can sign up at the next city commission meeting and speak then.
I can speak for
And if you'd
minutes.
like, you can speak again to the Economic Development Corporation public comments, feel free to do it. And
Except
you're
I
welcome to
remember
write.
today, I was told that there were no public comments at EDC meetings.
I don't know about that, I'm just saying is if there's
Then
public
why are
comments
you
about it.
encouraging that if you don't know about it?
What are you saying? What did you just say about public comments at EDC?
You just mentioned that you can use public comments.
You can.
at EDC meetings, and I said, I called and asked if that was possible.
Today was a special call meeting. It wasn't a regular EDC board meeting. I don't control the agenda. He's right here.
Yeah, and it's running into a brick wall with these people here.
Okay, I'm just telling you, it has nothing to do with the commercial development plan. If you have an issue with public comments, please address it to these folks that are behind me.
I have.
So are we standing up and going up there, or standing?
No, just stand up in your seat, and if anybody, would you like to start? We're gonna start the timer on you for 2 minutes. Go right ahead and start the timer.
I saw earlier on the screen there about an expansion for the police department. A while back, they had the union involved, they had officers involved, that they needed another PD because they didn't fit in the current one on the north side. Okay, they built them one on the south side, now they're complaining that they don't fit. I mean, the parking over there was the same thing as over here, cars don't even fit in there. You know, why do they want an expansion PD? We barely have officers, we barely have a chief of police, you know? It's totally ridiculous to make another expansion when they already have two. If they don't know how to work them, that's their problem. And as for the convention center, be assured it's gonna happen based on the recommendation of the city manager, because what he says goes. We have a city commission that has no say-so around here, okay? The majority of vote has no say-so around here. Next year, May 25th, I'm gonna run for commissioner, and they already know it. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Go ahead, man.
I would like to know, I got a flyer that showed, it looked like a bus stop and then a thing like the one in FAR.
Yes, ma'am.
Those three.
A gateway, yeah, gateway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the renders that we did,
Whose idea were those three?
those renders,
Uh-huh.
when we did the master plan for the downtown, and then we did the Nebraska Avenue revitalization,
Uh-huh.
the Economic Development Corporation Board asked us to do renders for what that would look
Okay.
like, revitalization.
Okay.
So we did that.
can I speak before my 2 minutes are up?
Go ahead. But
Are
I just
they
want to say
doing
the EDC board
my
asked us to do that.
the time.
Please.
Hey,
Oh, you want to speak about that?
No, I wanna speak about those three pictures, the water fountain.
Oh, and then you
I
want,
thought I
are
was-
you asking to pause the time so that you can do that?
Okay, she already.
You're taking up for 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll give her a little more time. You know, folks,
Well,
can you all bring the tension down a little
Sir,
bit here?
sir,
I'm gonna give you more time.
Okay,
You're gonna
thank
get
you,
it.
thank you.
But I'm asking for those of you to bring the tension down a little bit. You're gonna get to speak.
That's fine, but you said 2 minutes, but you're running.
I'm
into
fine, I'm
my
gonna
2
give you a little more
minutes.
time. Go right
Okay,
ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Those three pictures, that's why I came here, cause I'm a citizen, and I saw those recommendations, that entrance, that's just like FARs. I saw a water fountain, it's just like FARs. I'm just curious. Are there any other ideas besides copying everything that FAR has?
Yep.
I mean, everything, these things, those three pictures look like we're in FAR.
We don't even have a swimming pool.
Yeah. Is that fountain gonna use maybe for a splash? The kids can go into that fountain? I just don't get it. I mean, I see that entryway, that's just like FARs. I just wondered, who came up with those ideas? Don't they have any original ideas, anything different than FAR?
Did you want me to answer that?
No, I'd like for him to answer that.
Oh, okay, I don't think he's gonna answer.
No, I don't think so either. He don't even answer questions that the city commission.
Was there anything else you wanted to add, or was that it?
No, know, I just feel that San Juan's a copycat of everything they do from far.
Okay, I just wanna note something for you, ma'am.
Oh, and I'm not here with a group, okay?
I understand that.
Okay.
I just wanna tell you that the gateway that was being considered for that
Mhm.
is not made of steel. It is a stone gateway.
Okay, whatever.
Ours is steel, galvanized
Oh, so
steel.
it's not really gonna be a copycat.
No.
Okay.
Yes, sir, please.
I've lived in San Juan my whole life. My business has been in San Juan. When I was a kid, I was in the basement of the hotel. Downtown San Juan is $4.95. And now I hope you know that. All the businesses most of the people live north of the freeway. And if you're gonna have, trailer cooking, you need a public restroom. That's mandatory. If you have one, that's all right, but if you have 3 or 4, you need a place for a public restroom, and not a porta potty either.
Okay.
And I'm gonna help you out because I'm gonna sell my property. I don't tax.
Don't text.
Why? I'm practicing democracy.
Okay.
I'm moving.
All right. Thank you, sir. Is there anything else?
Nope.
All right, thank you, sir. Who's
Those
next?
are taxes.
Yes, ma'am, go right ahead.
Thanks. You give me some problems because I've been watering grass with bottles of water. My name's Virginia Haney Goss, and I'm basically here because I saw some reports while my husband was basically on his deathbed that my friend Gabriella wasn't too well received at one of these meetings. And I thought, oh my goodness, I can do some fast forwards and I can see what trouble San Juan may get into. They may get the Alamo Award from Texas Historical Commission someday. Did you know Mac Allen got that one? Yes, when they got rid of their oldest hotel in town. Now, I couldn't help it's a little bored and bad, and it was historical. Well, it disappeared just before 2 investors were putting their money where their mouth was. And so Rick DiGiulio got the Alamo Award because that hotel was done away with by the McAllen Chamber of Commerce. I understand you all have had trouble understanding that you have a Texas historic landmark here in the San Juan Hotel. We put the marker out in 1985, and the marker would say, if it hadn't disappeared in 2007, now I don't know who disappeared it, but according to Texas Historical Commission, it was declared missing then. The San Juan Hotel was completed and opened for business in 1920. Its construction reflected the plans of the town's early business leaders to establish San Juan as a Rio Grande Valley commercial center. Originally constructed with little ornamentation, the mission revival details were added in 1928. These included the red tile parapet, along with the roof line and the collinear parapet on the entryway. Recorded Texas Historic Landmark, 1985. And so would you please pass these forward? And Mr. Gooding is my good friend here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, this right here is when we put that marker
Ma'am, you can slow
dedication
down.
up for San Juan.
You can slow down, you're gonna get a little more time. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry about my voice. When I get nervous, I croak up like this. Okay, this is Mayor Palacios with Mary, David, and Glenn Siegel, who owned the San Juan Hotel and did its remodeling back in the 1980s. And this is the marker dedication. So if you want to see what a marker looked like, it was on the building. Now, it wasn't like that Tom Mayfield marker. I bought that myself because I was Texas Hidalgo County Historical Commission treasurer at the time. And so it was my job to put through purchase orders. And gosh, with pros and cons, I think old Mayfield's a pretty exciting character, don't you? Anyway, thank you so much.
You're more than welcome, ma'am. Who's next? Yes, sir.
Yeah. First, I do want to acknowledge all the work that was put into this plan. I know a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into it. Unfortunately, it's disconnected from the reality of what public funds should be doing. You're trying to take people's hard-earned money and what they pay into taxes, and we know how hard taxes are, and you're trying to give it to businesses, which that money could already be given to businesses. All this money that's gone into this planning could have gone to the businesses. Those policies that y'all described, those are great policies that the city could be doing. Why wasn't that the first option before rendering these images that are probably not gonna get built, and like people have mentioned, have happened in other places and are not that successful. Look at FAR and their food truck business. Somebody also mentioned that like food trucks build business and then get a brick and mortar place. Go to any food truck anywhere here. They don't get a brick and mortar restaurant. Most of the times they stay in those food trucks. Unfortunately, there's a disconnect with like how important we are with our community, and it's because we destroy our history. And I just want to tell everybody here who's made decisions about this project, it's like, just consider what you've done up to this point. Sometimes it's okay to lose. Sometimes it's okay we don't always have to win. It's okay to lose, but just remember that you're losing taxpayer money. You're losing out on the possibility of building infrastructure that builds a better future for everybody, not just the EDC, and not just the people that are already well-funded.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll go next.
Yes, sir.
Gabriel Zuna, Hidalgo County Historical Commission. I came to the last workshop that you all had, and I had one singular goal in mind, which is to talk about the importance of preservation as part of any downtown development plan. Now, that is a word that did not make it into your presentation, and if that's an indication, it probably isn't going to make it into your final report and recommendations, and I think that that is a large oversight on the part of everyone on this project. I've talked to everyone ad nauseum about the importance of those historic preservation tax credits. If you own a historic age building that is eligible to be put on the National Register, you can get a 20% federal tax credit and a 25% state tax credit through the Texas Historical Commission from the National Park Service to help revitalize those buildings and make them into economic drivers. That's why the federal government passed the National Historic Preservation Act and amended it in 1980 to be able to do these things. Another aspect, Main Street is great, but you can't just jump straight into Main Street. I know, I used to intern at the Community Heritage Development, the Texas Historical Commission. Before you can really get to Main Street, you gotta start with a certified local government. You gotta start with a preservation ordinance that is already on your books. It was passed in 2002, and you know, I get it, things happen and it didn't quite get put into enforcement, but there's so much benefit to a program like that. Taking your heritage, taking your history, and incorporating it into this downtown development plan. Mr. Godinez is right to say that the San Juan Hotel is not the focus of this development project. The problem is it ought to be, because when you think of San Juan, when you think of downtown, it's the #1 thing that comes to mind. It is the #1 site that pops up when you Google downtown San Juan. It's the most recognizable, well, except for the Basilica, but that's not downtown, that's uptown. They're trying to connect the two.
Thinks it is.
So that's great, yes. Now, the thing about the San Juan Hotel being excluded from this workshop, and I get you want to separate the two because you want to talk about development as a whole thing. That's fine. I actually found nothing objectionable in what the presenters gave today. I think all of it sounds great. But if you're not going to include the hotel, your most visible landmark, the thing that can draw people, draw visitors, draw tax visitor dollars, heritage tourism dollars into downtown, then you're missing a big part of this. So I urge you to take another look at your planning, incorporate preservation, make the Historical Commission, whether the County Historical Commission or the Texas Historical Commission, your allies, your friends on this. We want to help you. There is money out there, these are public services out there, and we would love to help, but we feel like we're not being invited to the conversation. So thank you all for your time, and if you want to hear any more about this, I'm more than willing to talk to anyone about it. Thank you.
Who else?
Hi, my name is Stephanie Alvarez. I just took some notes because I wasn't prepared to make a statement. But I've been paying property taxes in San Juan for about 18 years. I also served as a volunteer on the Parks and Recreation Board for a few years. I can't even tell you how many. I've volunteered to coach more than 20 teams here for the city of San Juan. I helped with the Dia de los Muertos event. I worked with the city and the Smithsonian Institute to bring a mural that is on the municipal swimming pool that really has to be restored. It hasn't been taken care of as we have asked for it to happen. And also the mural at the San Juan Sports Complex that also still needs to be finished. And I would love to talk to someone about that. I wanna say that there's no such thing as a vital downtown without serious investment in art and culture. And that's the one thing I don't see here. Like I said, I don't believe this is an open house, and while you say that this is not about the San Juan Hotel, I wanna echo what Gabriel said, any downtown plan includes one way or another the San Juan Hotel. That is what we most know as the downtown. And I, on behalf, meeting with us, I would like to have a meeting in the future with the commission. I have asked, this is my third time. Other people asked a couple weeks ago. I wasn't there, my daughter was in the emergency room, to meet with us. There is a lot of tension here, but it's because we feel unheard. We feel like we're being silenced by 2 minutes this meeting, 3 minutes that meeting. We're not gonna be angry. We had a beautiful meeting of almost 40 people. No one was upset. We just were sharing ideas. And it was a great event. In terms of economic development, restoring the hotel for future years is what makes the most sense, as Mr. Osuna mentioned. But erasing history makes 0 sense. An excellent economic opportunity resides, one example, not the thing it has to be, is turning the hotel into a museum, much like the Museum of South Texas History, that can also be used for events, just like the Museum of South Texas is. I would propose to turn the hotel into a museum of civil rights history and tell the story of San Juan and the Valley. This would bring thousands of children every year to that site, and visitors and residents as well, so that we can do as a city should do, which is preserve and nurture the culture and history of the community and ensure that we, the people of the Valley and San Juan, have the opportunity to develop a historical consciousness and also be able to reconcile that history. And the last thing to help that is erasing history.
Would you like another 2 minutes?
No.
Okay, thank you. Who else would like to say something? Is that it?
No, I'll share.
Okay, go ahead.
I also have to write my notes because I'm a nervous Nancy.
Well, while you're getting out of the notes, can I answer a question?
Sure.
Go right ahead, ma'am.
I remember a long time ago, San Juan was noted for its antique stores in downtown. Is that still a thing going on here?
I don't know the answer to that.
There's only one antique store. It's on that side of Business 830.
Thank you. I think that would be a nice thing to shoot toward.
The first thing that we identified as a building type or genre that we would propose for downtown are boutique shops, including antique stores. That was the first thing that we noted
You guys
There
are
is-
real
on our
planners.
plan.
There is a thrift shop as well. There's
I don't know if we can become Tyler or Elgin, because they got beautiful
Just gotta
antique
believe.
shops. Did somebody want to say something?
Yeah, you know, Brian, we had talked about this, there is.
Steve, can you stand?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
So there is opportunity for niche market shopping in San Juan. You know, there's a guy who sells toys right there off of 83. That is a very narrow margin type of store. You know, he's got to make investment in purchasing and stuff to that effect. That's a very small market, but he's doing well. And so being able to find other types of niche market types of stores, something that you can't get everywhere, something that you can be unique for, that's an opportunity. When those are small businesses, those are people who are putting their time and effort into it. And we want to hear those stories, and we want to be able to find those stories to help and encourage and grow in this downtown, because that's what makes it unique. Yes, ma'am.
One more question, does San Juan right now have an annual festival like Fest or,
That's more of a question for your commission, but the bringing festivals is absolutely the kind of thing that, you know, you want to encourage. And what we're trying to look at, is there a place for that in downtown that those festivals can happen?
because when you said something about, well, we'll get the ball rolling, McAllen got the ball rolling with history when they first started their birthday party in 2004 with Golden Spike Big Beans. And that launched a lot of things like Fest.
Mhm.
And it's become high numbers of people coming in from all over the valley, heads on beds.
And putting a farmer's market that might be sponsored by somebody who's got a lot of money, maybe a business that's on the interstate, that helps fund it, helps keep it moving, keeps it growing, and helps bringing more people into it. So, you know, those kinds of things, you're absolutely correct. And so we're trying to find all the kinds of big type of economic development, and we're trying to find the small efforts as well.
One last comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I pray you all don't worship chain restaurants, because those are killers for little towns that want to set themselves apart and be unique and everybody come see them.
Okay.
Alright.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Wonderful. So I am a community member.
Would you like to stand up?
No, I
Okay,
get more
go
nervous.
ahead.
I'm an educator. I'm also a soil scientist and social equity advocate. So on that same sense, as I was looking at your plans, which I also really appreciate you all sharing them, I wanted to talk about the heat island effect. I'm not sure.
I understand that. The what?
Heat Island.
Heat island effect.
Heat island effect?
Yes, something that I'm sure that all of you are aware of. If you don't know what a heat island is, it is a combination of the climate, weather patterns, and city design increasing the use of concrete. And so all of that together is going to increase the amount of heat that exists in small cities. With that said, there are multiple cities that use sustainable design to increase shade and encourage people to come out. There was a lot of mention, I think you, sir, were talking about bringing people out, the traffic, folks coming out and walking over to the food trucks or wherever it was that you mentioned. And really, we're shooting ourselves in the foot if we're not creating a system that's sustainable to encourage people to come out. Instead, we're encouraging heat strokes with not enough not enough of a safety net. So with that said, I do want to gently encourage you all to maybe find some kind of pilot design that already exists out there. They do this heavily in other countries. I haven't seen it here, but native plants are magic, and they will grow in this heat, and they will encourage more traffic. Now, in terms of historic preservation, I coincidentally also want to talk about that too, right? Somebody mentioned, one of you two folks mentioned that it's part of our identity. I don't want to reiterate, but I don't know if you folks are from here, but a lot of us are, and that's part of our identity, and I do want to heavily encourage Commissioner for you to advocate for your people and your community by not erasing their identity. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
No,
ma'am.
there's somebody else.
Is there someone else who would like to speak? Do you want to have the final word?
All right, it doesn't have to be the final
Do
word.
it
Well,
Spanish and English.
I'm going to see if
Is
anybody
there
else
anyone
wanted to
that-
speak.
I am thinking
What
of
did
getting.
did you want to take up my offer on 2 more minutes?
Yes, please.
Go right
Yes.
ahead.
No, I just because I don't know that I'm gonna have the opportunity again beyond another 2 minutes sometime else in the future. I just wanna speak quickly about the importance of San Juan in terms of history, and especially in civil rights. San Juan has been a leader in civil rights history. Recently, there was a meeting about planning at the area, at the Jackson Ranch, because the Underground Railroad actually ran through San Juan to Mexico, where enslaved fugitives left through here. That's part of the beginning of the civil rights here. We have it right here in the city. It was critical in terms of the civil rights movement. The City Commission of San Juan was the first Mexican-American city commission in all of the Rio Grande Valley.
That's
Okay?
great.
Yes, and it was all happened because of a man named Chuy Ramirez, who was a high school student who ran a newspaper press out of his house to help those Mexican Americans get elected. And it's been a pivotal point, especially in terms of farm worker movement and farm worker labor movement by Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta, and the founding of the Texas Farm Workers Union here by Antonio Orendain, and now Lupe. So I mentioned this also to say that, you know, meeting with some folks who understand this history, there's a lot already you can put in this museum. For example, there's already a curated exhibit on the history of La Unión de Pueblo Entero, Lupe. There's also a traveling exhibit by the Refusing to Forget Project, which is a nationally recognized historical project which talks about La Matanza and state-sanctioned violence here in the Rio Grande Valley, and specifically San Juan, that was featured at the Texas State Museum and can be a permanent exhibit tomorrow in that museum. And there are other historical things that they're ready to go. My point is, there's endless possibilities for that. And so I just want to say that this is critical in general and for the reasons I said, but also unfortunately, our history is not taught in textbooks. It is actually even banned to be taught. And so we have a responsibility as a community to now educate ourselves and share that history and make sure we preserve it and say what those people doing is wrong. And by not demolishing the hotel, by restoring it, and maybe a museum, maybe not, you are going against what those people are doing, which is erasing history and not giving us access to it. And I know the people, I know these commissioners and the city manager, I know that they're not about that, right? And I know that part of this is just because we haven't had a conversation. And if we talk about it, I think we could come up with some really great ideas that don't involve demolishing San Juan Hotel, but rather embracing that history.
For a brief addendum to that, if you'll allow me.
Thank you, sharing that.
Yes.
I really, appreciate putting this out there, like you did, Mr. Godinez, of saying, I know that that's why a lot of people are here, and you gave a little bit of an opportunity to recognize that. And I want to do the same and say that we really don't want to fight anyone. We don't want to be anyone's enemy. We don't want there to be sides. We want to find a solution that works for both parts. And one of the things that came up in this meeting kind of sparked an idea that I've been having for a little while of this conference center. If the city of San Juan needs one and feels like it can't be adapted with the current structure, the city of San Juan's EDC owns a parcel of land next to a canal on Wyoming Street, less than half a mile away from downtown, with plenty of space. That would be a perfect spot for that type of event center, conference center, whatever you want it to be. And it would allow us to have both. Have that and have a San Juan Hotel that can be geared towards civics, the arts, hospitality, housing, whatever you have. And that way, that's my kind of thing to bring to you all is, let's find a solution that works for everyone and that doesn't put people on sides.
Yes.
So that's my addendum. Thank you.
If there's no one else, thank you for coming here and providing feedback and input and listening to our phase of where we are with the commercial development plan, and appreciate the input. Thank you so much. The evening is adjourned.
Where's a good place to eat in San Juan?
What's that, ma'am?
Where's a good place to eat in San
The
Juan?
Rancho Grande, just around the corner. It's a good place to go.
I wanted to know if any of the commissioners or Mr. Arjona just wanted to say something, since we've been kind of talking to you, even though it's not your meeting.
I'm gonna say something,
Yeah.
but what I wanna say, it's not to be argumentative in any way.
Can you stand?
I am standing. No,
It's not gonna make a difference.
I've been asking for a budget amendment to get me a stool, and it's yet to come through, but I'm working on it. Please know that we are hearing you. We are listening to you. Don't think that we're not. Because we are quiet, we have to follow the rules, Robert Rules of Orders as well. So please don't think that we're not, because we are not responding, we are not being receptive, we're not listening, taking this back to the board. Okay, because we are listening to you. Other this didn't happen last year. This has been in the process for over 10 years. It got stalled for, I couldn't tell you why, and now it's back. It's not about changing San Juan. It's not about getting rid of the history of San Juan. It is just keeping up with San Juan to make sure that our buildings still stay, that they're functional. It's not about tearing down any old building that we have. We love our buildings. We love our business owners, whether they're chains or they're mom and pops. Our EDC is always here to promote both sides of our businesses. And we welcome anybody that comes to San Juan because, yes, we are the friendly city. That is our logo. But we're here because we want to promote our city. People don't realize that our city is so small, but if you look at what we have within our city, we have hotels that are coming. We have chain restaurants. We have mom and pop restaurants. We have places to shop. We have places in San Juan where your bigger cities, we're not be the size and the population of our bigger cities, but we absolutely can care for the citizens of San Juan with what we have. We have emergent care. We have a 911 ambulance here. We have 911 services. So we have a lot of things here in the city of San Juan to promote our city and to help our citizens. So please know that as a commission, although we are quiet, I am not the type of commissioner that's gonna be blasting on social media, look at what I do, look at what I did today. You will not find that. I'm not like that. I'm the type of person, and Mr. Arjona will tell you, I listen, I might not respond, Mr. Peña, I might not respond, but I listen. No, I don't. And
It's
it's
a very
true.
simple question.
It is, and some of those, I can't respond to that, but I listen. And I take it back, and Commissioner O'Hara will tell you the same thing. I do my research in the back, and I don't need to promote and boast what I do for the citizens of San Juan. But if you wanna sit with me and meet with me, like I told you, I am willing to sit with you and meet with you and discuss and have a mutual, professional, good communicative conversation with everybody. But just understand that sometimes there's situations like here where we cannot actually answer some of your questions.
Thank you for standing up
Oh my God.
and for speaking up, because for the last 3 meetings, I didn't know that any of the commissioners or mayor knew how to speak. Because when I ask a question,
And I know, and I see your frustration at the meetings, and I do apologize, but like I said.
but thank you for standing up, and so people can know that
Yeah.
you guys do talk.
And I knew the meeting, like I've talked to Ms. Alvarez, I wasn't able to go through
Yes,
my
I
work
know.
schedule. But I gave my business cards to those people that were there that evening, and my personal phone numbers on there so we can meet. Please understand that if we meet, it would only be at the max 2 commissioners that would be able to go there because of quorum. Okay, but, and like I told Mr. Osuna last night, I might not have all the answers for you, but I will absolutely go back and research and get the information that I can. I know a lot of people are contesting the San Juan Hotel. I will tell you personally, I know my own family, generations back, were also affected by Mayfield and his travesties, the reality. And although some people don't want to erase that history, and some people don't want to remember that. So we're never gonna please everybody, but we will absolutely listen to everybody. And we will do, at the end, I know we're gonna make decisions that will be hard on both sides, but we will absolutely try to accommodate as much as we can from all sides. I know, we talked about taxpayer money. That is why as an EDC, we're doing what we do to promote our land, to bring that money back to our city. That tax money goes back to roads. And we just had the discussion yesterday, our drainage system still need repairs, and we're not the only city. We know there's a bunch of other cities that need drainage repairs. We're working on that. That money goes back to help our fire department, our police department, all our workers, to create jobs, to make our city livable, and to adapt to the growth that we have. We have new developments coming in with housings as well. We just broke ground on 120 just a couple of weeks ago, of new homes coming in. And that's just one of the many that we have. So we have to make sure that we have our drainage, our sewers, our water. We have to make sure we have all that. We have recycling, which many of the bigger cities don't pick up your recycling. We do that here. So just know that we're listening to you. Please, just don't take offense that we're not. If y'all ever see me at the meetings, and I have here, I wrote down, I always write down notes, okay? I always take down notes, and if I'm not, and I'll put it on my phone, and I go, and I always, Mr. Arjona, okay, what are we gonna talk about today? And I have a list, and he thinks the meeting's means over, oh, no, bring up the notepad, we're not done yet.
Again, thank you for speaking up,
And-
and you might get my vote.
And let me tell you all that for the past, I guess, since I started in 2017, the city of San Juan has not raised taxes. It's not us, it's the appraisal district, school district, and the county.
Yeah.
So if you check that, we try to, I know we're wanna keep it where it is. As a matter of fact, I think last year we went half a cent down or 1 cent down. It's not us, and a lot of we get calls about why you're raising the taxes. And we tell them, look at the chart, look at who's the one charging you more, and are you still the same? So, and I know it's hard for us, like, Commissioner Santana is saying that about, what we need to do. I know the city of San Juan is an old city. We're trying to fix infrastructure, like the drainage and all that. And, apparently right now we have about 20-some, subdivisions coming in. They are already start building over here. So we're growing, and little by little, this is what a lot of times we got a lot of decisions we're gonna make. It might not be the perfect one, but you all gonna get into the explanation why or why not. Simple as that.
And we've made mistakes. I will be the first. I made a huge mistake in one of my votings a few years ago, and I admit it. But when the time came, I did what I could to put us in the right direction. So I'm not a perfect commissioner. I don't think anybody will stand here and say they are, but we all absolutely try our very best. And when our election comes up, if you don't want us here, somebody else, so be it. But we do it because of the service in the heart, and we try to do our very best. And like I said, we don't always please everybody. We can't always do what everybody wants, but we do the best that we can with the information that we do have. So I know we talked about the hotel and the feasibility studies and all of that. Believe me, we've talked about that, and we're looking into all of that. So it's not falling on deaf ears. Please understand that. And I don't want it to be contentious, and I don't want this to feel like, to be angry and coming in like we're here to fight. We're not here to fight with anybody. We are absolutely listening to you. So, yes.
Will there be another?
I know tomorrow we're having another one. It'll be on the business side.
Yeah,
But the residents are more than welcome to come. Please don't think if you're not a
Okay,
business.
because I pictured this totally different. I didn't know there was gonna be 2 minutes. I didn't know, I thought people were just gonna, mingle and talk about.
And you're more
I
welcome to
totally-
people. We have snacks in the back.
Yeah, but I
Stay
pictured
in
it totally different. I didn't expect like a commission meeting where you're timed, and I thought people would
It is,
just.
and what we did with the 2 minutes, like Mr. Molina said, it was a recommendation just to keep control within the meeting, because honestly, some of us can talk for 30 minutes, and, we gotta give everybody the opportunity.
Yeah. I get it.
People wanna go home too,
Can I,
It's just to keep order. Yes, ma'am.
Can I say,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
an example, because
Yes.
I know what you said, that, some people don't wanna, keep reminders of
Right, everybody has their own.
tragedies that happen. The Alamo in San Antonio.
Imagine if they destroyed the animal.
Right.
But, I mean, and I respect, your family, your history. But the Alamo is a very good example of why not to get rid of historical, buildings. And she's right, she is right. San Juan it would benefit with a museum, right? All of PSJ kids can have,
The whole valley.
field trips to that place.
University students could do research out of there, and people from all over the country would come here to do research, as we had a museum like that. Summer camp.
And it seems like, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it seems like the decision has been made.
Yeah.
From,
And I know it seems that from your
From-
perspective,
from-
and I
from-
completely understand and I respect that, but we're, like I said, this is still planning stages. We can decide, you know what, we're gonna resell the hotel. It wasn't private ownership for a long time, so we took it, once we were able to, and so here we are. But honestly, we could say, you know what, why don't we sell it back to a private owner? That's something we could decide tomorrow, so, have a lot of, great relationships with the city as well. So just be patient with us, but like I said, you know, we're willing to meet.
I just wanna say thank you so much for talking to us. It's so helpful, cause it's very hard
Yes.
when you're just like limited to 2 or 3 minutes and no response. And I just do wanna acknowledge, like I did at the last meeting, that Ms. Santillan, because you were the only one that responded about the meeting and just said you couldn't attend. And to please get back in touch with you. And I just wanna say, right now on the books, like, the only thing that's been passed is to demolish the hotel. And I know that that's like, well, maybe it's just to demolish part of it, but, so I think a long way would go to say, we're tabling that or something.
When you see an RFP on the newspaper that we're going out for bids for demolition, now you know we're on that path,
But
we're not there
I know,
yet.
but you know,
We're still.
I'm just trying to explain, what we did see was a newspaper article
On the possibility of what the.
on a rendering of
Right.
it completely gone. And that's very scary.
It was a wake-up call.
Yes, yeah, so it's for us, because we don't know what's on, we only know what's on,
And there's some
what
things
you
we can't
passed.
discuss, because until it's presented to us, it isn't an open record, but there was that money that was presented. But as far as actual schematics within the inside, what we're gonna do, all of that is still up in the air, so until you see it presented to us officially, then it'll be, now we're going in the direction. But just, yes, Mr.
I'm sorry, just because I wanted to make sure, because I don't know if I made myself clear yesterday, I got a little nervous during public comment. I handed, a proposal that was forwarded to me unsolicited, from Post Oak Preservation Services. From Post Oak Preservation Services,